Hello, my name is Kathy and I welcome you to my class. This class will be appropriate for any level of yogi. It'll be a brief 20 to 30 minute class. And we will begin by finding a comfortable seat on our mat, whatever that means for you. And then I invite you to just place one hand over your heart, one hand over your stomach. And we will begin by taking 3 deep breaths together. So inhaling through our nose, opening our mouth and exhaling through our mouth, really allowing ourselves to land into our practice onto our mat. Again, inhaling through our nose, exhaling through our mouth, allowing any tension we may be carrying to just float out on our breath. And one last time, inhaling through our nose, exhaling through our mouth, allowing our mind and body and breath to come into sync. And just gently allowing your hands to fall back into your lap. We will begin with some neck warm-ups. So as we inhale, we'll ensure that we're sitting up nice and tall. Our head and spine, our head and neck and spine are all in alignment. And as we exhale, we will gently allow our head to fall forward, looking down. Exhaling in this position. And on our next inhale, we will slowly start to rotate our head to look up at the ceiling, exhaling as we're looking up at the ceiling. Taking as many breaths here in this position as you'd like. Then when you're ready on your next inhale, shifting your gaze back down, exhaling as you're looking down. Then on your next inhale, looking back up. Looking up at the ceiling, exhaling as you're gazing up at the ceiling. And then inhaling, returning your neck to a neutral position, just exhaling in your neutral position. Next, we will look to our left and to our right. So as we inhale, we will move our head and gaze over our left shoulder, exhaling as we're looking out over our left shoulder. And then inhaling as we shift to the right, gazing out over our right shoulder, exhaling as we're gazing. Inhaling as we're moving back to the left, exhaling as we gaze over the left, perhaps noticing any sensations that may be arising on the sides of our neck. Inhaling to look back over our right shoulder. Exhaling as we're gazing on the right shoulder, this time perhaps noticing any sensations that may be arising on the left side of our neck. When you're ready, just inhaling back to a neutral neck position. Again, making sure we're sitting up nice and tall, always sitting up nice and tall, abs engaged. On our next inhale, just confirming we're sitting up tall, and then as we exhale, we're going to allow our left ear to tilt towards our left shoulder. Exhaling in this position, staying here for a couple breaths, allowing the right side of our neck to find some space and some openness. And then inhaling to shift to the other side as we tilt our right ear towards our right shoulder. Exhaling, and then staying for a few breaths to allow some openness on the left side of our neck. And then inhaling, returning back up to a neutral position. We will do some neck rolls. So as we inhale, sitting up nice and tall, exhaling, allowing our head to fall forward. And then rotating to the side, back, side, forward, being gentle with our neck. Remembering to continue to breathe, never holding our breath. Doesn't matter which direction you started in, we'll be reversing. And then reversing your direction. And again, continuing to breathe. Our breath is very intimately connected to our nervous system, and anytime we hold our breath, we're doing shallow breathing, we're sending messages to our nervous system that we may be in distress, and it will react accordingly. And we don't want that. When that feels complete for you, returning your neck to a neutral position. And next we will do some shoulder warm-ups. So on your next inhale, bringing your right hand straight out across your body, catching it with your left arm bent at the elbow and catching yourself on your forearm, not on your wrist or on your elbow. As we inhale, really straightening your right arm, and then as you exhale, gently tugging your right arm towards your body with your left arm. Staying here for a couple breaths. And releasing your hands back down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So inhaling as we bring our left arm across our body, catching it with our right arm, bent elbow. Again, not on your elbow, on your wrist, in your forearm somewhere, or some people like to grab up here. That's appropriate as well. And then as we inhale, really straightening our left arm, and then as we exhale, pulling our left arm towards our body. Staying here for a couple breath cycles, allowing some opening on the back of our arm and shoulder. And then just allowing your hands to fall back down to your lap. Next, we will do a tricep stretch for the back of our arms. So we're going to inhale as we lift our left arm straight up above our head, and then we will bend it at the elbow like we're patting ourselves on the back. Right arm's going to come straight up above our head and then bend over the top of our head, grabbing our left elbow. Inhaling as we ensure our spine's up. We're sitting up nice and tall. Then exhaling as we gently pull that left elbow towards our head. Staying here for a couple breath cycles. Opening up the back of the left arm. And then returning our hands back down to our lap. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So right arm up above our head straight, bending at the elbow, patting ourselves on the back. Left arm straight up above our head and then bending at the elbow over the top of our head, grabbing our right elbow. Inhaling, sitting up nice and tall. Exhaling, gently pulling that right elbow towards our head. Staying here for a few breaths. And then allowing our hands to just come back down to our lap. Next, we will just do some shoulder shrugs. So as we inhale, we're going to bring our shoulders up tight, 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 tight to our ears. And as we exhale, we're going to let them fall down nice and heavy. So we'll do that a couple more times. So inhaling, tight, 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 tight. And really exhaling, just letting the breath come out naturally and letting those shoulders fall down. One more time. Inhaling, tight, 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 tight. And then really exhaling and dropping our shoulders. Now we'll do some shoulder rolls like we did with our neck. So we'll bring our shoulders up, back, down, and then forward. Up, back, down, forward. And some people may want to have their arms involved in this. That's an option. Maybe you just want to keep it to your shoulders, whatever your body's calling for today. And then reversing direction, so forward, back, up, forward, down, back. And again, maybe your arms want to get involved a little bit. And when that feels complete, just returning your hands back down to your lap. And then next we'll just do some gentle wrist warm-ups because we are going to get into tabletop a little bit and we'll prepare our wrists for that. So just bringing your hands up in front of your body and then gently twirling your hands in one direction. And then reversing. And just allowing your hands to come back down to your lap. We're going to move into a tabletop position. So coming onto your hands and knees. Being mindful of your alignment here, we want our knees to be under our hips, hands and wrists to be under our shoulders. Fingers may be spread out a bit. And we're going to begin with some cat-cows. So as we inhale, we're going to allow our belly to drop and our head and our tailbone to lift up. Exhaling in this position. And then on our next exhale, so we'll inhale here in the cow position. On our next exhale, we will shift up into our cat, rounding our spine up, letting our head and our tail drop, really pulling our belly button up into our spine, pushing down through our palms. Staying here for a breath or two. And then on your next inhale, moving back into your cow. And then we'll continue this at your own pace for a couple rounds. So maybe you like to move through your cat and cow a little bit quicker. Maybe you like to really stay in one position longer for a few breaths. Whatever your body's calling for. That feels complete for you, just returning to your neutral tabletop position. And then the next move we're going to do is called wag the tail. So from a neutral position in tabletop, we're going to inhale as we look over our left shoulder, back at our left foot, exhaling as we're looking back at the left foot. Inhaling as we move to the other side to look over our right shoulder, looking back at our right foot, exhaling as we're looking back at the right foot. Do that a couple more times. Inhaling as we shift to the left side, looking over our left shoulder, back at our left foot. Exhaling in position. Inhaling as we shift back to the right, looking back at our right foot, exhaling. Perhaps noticing any sensations that may be arising on our side bodies. This is a side body opener. Inhaling as we shift. Exhaling, looking back at our right foot. One last time, inhaling as we shift back to the right. I'm sorry, that was our left foot. Exhaling as we're gazing back at our right foot. And then inhaling back into a neutral tabletop position. Next, we will do a calf stretch. So we're going to inhale our right leg up and back behind us, nice and firm. And as we exhale, we're going to allow it to fall down to the mat, landing on our toes, and then we will push through our back heel, keeping our leg firm. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. Just engaging the back of the leg, finding some space in our calf. And then returning your knee back down to a tabletop position. We will do the same thing on the other side. So as we inhale, lifting our left leg up and back behind us, keeping our leg taut and firm. Exhaling as we allow our toes to land on the mat and we push through the heel. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And then returning that left leg back down to our tabletop position. We will do some hip circles. Now these can look different for everybody, just depending on the flexibility of your hips. So maybe you just want to have small hip circles. Maybe you're going to go a little bit bigger. But essentially we're rotating the hips. We're going side, forward, side, back. Doesn't matter which direction you start. We'll be going both ways. That direction feels complete, just reversing your direction. Remembering to continue to breathe, not holding our breath. And then returning to tabletop when that feels complete for you on that side. And just sitting back on our heels for a minute. Little stretch for our quadriceps, the front of our legs, and also let's just twirl our hands a little bit. We've been in tabletop for a few minutes. Let's give those wrists a little break. Maybe taking your hand and pulling back on your fingers if that feels good. We're going to move into tabletop again to do a couple little low lunge series. So I just want you to get your wrist prepared for that. And if you need to, a modification that you can do is you can come down onto your forearms if your wrists are just, this is too much for them. You can also come up onto fist. Just making sure if you're up on your fist that you're never allowing your wrists to bend in or out, that you're keeping it nice and strong. And this is also actually a very great wrist strengthener. So whatever you need to do, we're going to come back into tabletop. And then from tabletop, we are going to move our left foot forward in between our hands. So you may need to move your left hand to swing your left foot up forward. And then with our left foot in between our hands, we're going to inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to allow our hips to fall forward into the low lunge, making sure that we remain in alignment here. So our knee needs to be over our ankle, not coming out over our foot. If it's coming out over your foot, you need to move your foot forward a little bit. And then some options in low lunge for your hands. Maybe you need to keep your hands on the mat. Maybe you'd like to bring them up to your knee. Maybe you want them on your waist. Maybe you'd like them above your head. Again, these are just options, and one is not better than the other. Doing whatever you need for your body. We'll stay in the lunge for a few breaths, and as you're inhaling, just focusing on your spine is lifting up out of your hips, and as you're exhaling, perhaps allowing your hips to fall forward just a little bit more and to sink deeper into the stretch. Feeling a nice opening on the right side of our front thigh. On your next exhale, returning your hand back down to the mat if they were up off the mat, swinging your left leg back into your tabletop position. And we'll just stay here for a breath in between sides. We're going to repeat that on the right hand side. So when you're ready, bringing your right foot forward in between your hands. Again, lifting your right hand out of the way if need be. Inhaling and then exhaling as we allow our hips to fall forward and we come into our low lunge. Again, being mindful that your knee is over your ankle and not coming out over your foot. Make any adjustments that you need to. And again, options. Hands can remain on the mat. Hands can come up to the knee. Maybe you like to put your hands on your hips. Maybe you want your hands above head. And you know what you did on the other side might feel completely different on this side, and that is absolutely normal. Listen to your body at all times. I am just here for a suggestion. And again, as we inhale, really focusing on lengthening our spine and our head up out of our hips. And exhaling, allowing our hips to perhaps fall deeper into the stretch. Staying here for a couple breaths. And then on your next exhale, when you're ready, returning your hands down to the mat if they were up off the mat. Returning your right leg back to the tabletop position. Staying here for a breath. We're going to move into low lunge one more time to do a low lunge with a twist. So again, we will bring that left foot forward in between our hands. Inhaling and then exhaling as we allow ourselves to fall into our low lunge. Same rules apply here. Be mindful of alignment. Hands can be mat, knee, hips above the head. We'll only stay for a breath or two here, and then we're going to move into a twist. So if you have your hands up anywhere off the mat, returning your right hand to the mat on an exhale, and then inhaling as we prepare to exhale and twist our arm up towards the sky, coming into a T shape with our arms, rotating our heart up towards the ceiling. If you're unable to bring your arm up into a twist, you can have it laying on your leg, but still focusing on turning our heart up towards the ceiling, continuing to breathe, inhaling, elongating our spine out of our hips, exhaling, allowing our hips to sink into the low lunge position a little bit more if that feels appropriate. And then when you're ready, on your next exhale, returning that left hand back down to the mat, shifting your left foot back into your tabletop position, and doing any movement that you need in between sides. Maybe you want to do a couple hip circles. Maybe you want to sink back into a child's pose. Coming back onto your knees and doing a couple wrist twirls. We're going to move back into that low lunge position one more time. So returning to your tabletop if you came out of it. Bringing your right foot forward in between your hands. Inhaling as we prepare to exhale and allow our hips to fall forward into the low lunge. And again, mat, knee, hips, above the head. Staying for a breath or two. And then when you are ready, returning, if your hand came up off the mat, returning your left hand down to the mat, across from your right foot, inhaling, and then as we exhale, twisting our arm up into a T position, chest up towards the ceiling. And again, if that doesn't work for your shoulders or it's a little bit too intense right now, you can rest your arm on your right leg. Well, continuing to focus on twisting your heart space towards your right, up towards the ceiling. Continuing to breathe. And then on your exhale, when you're ready, returning your right hand to the mat, returning to your tabletop position, bringing your toes together, knees wide, and sinking back into a child's pose. So allowing your hips to fall back onto your feet, reaching out with your hands, forehead to mat. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. And when you're ready, using your hands to gently push yourself back up into a seated position, bringing your knees together. We're going to meet on our backs on the mat. So rolling onto your back, meeting on our backs with our feet on the mat, knees bent. We're going to bring our right knee into our chest, and the sole of our foot's going to go up towards the ceiling. Toes are pointed down towards our face. We're going to clasp behind our thigh. And a couple options for this extended leg movement. If you want some movement, you can either stay still like this, knee bent as much as need to be. You can point and flex your foot. Maybe you want to do some ankle twirls. Maybe you want to bend and straighten your knee. Maybe you want to do a little bit of all of them. Just finding some space for the back of our leg. Our hamstrings, which get very tight. We, as a population in general, do a lot of sitting. It tends to shorten the backside of our body. When that side feels complete for you, just allowing that right foot to return down to the mat. And we'll do the same thing on the left side. So bringing your knee into your chest a bit, and then sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, toes pointed down, clasping your hand, this time clasping your hand in the opposite direction of what you did on the other side. So opposite index finger on top. Knee is bent as needs to be. And then same thing on this side. Movement or no. If you'd like some movement, you can point and flex your foot. Maybe circle your ankle. Maybe bend and open up your knee. As always, remembering to continue to breathe. Letting our nervous system know we're safe and everything is fine. And then when that feels complete on that side, just returning your left knee back down to the mat. We're going to do a supine pigeon, or also known as a figure four. So we're going to bring our right ankle over our left knee, flexing our right foot to protect our knee joint. And for some of us, this may be plenty. This can be very intense stretch if you have really tight outer hips. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper into the stretch, you can lift your left leg and then clasp behind the left leg, either behind your thigh or on top of your shin, please not on your knee. And then gently pull that leg in towards your chest, keeping your foot flexed, your right foot flexed, and breathing. Maybe taking some cleansing breaths, allowing any tension to release. And then allowing that left foot to return to the mat if you had it off the mat. Right foot back down to the mat, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left ankle over right knee, left foot flex to protect the knee. And then if this is great, staying here. If you want a little bit deeper stretch, lifting your right leg up, clasping behind your right leg, again, perhaps clasping in the opposite way, behind your thigh, on top of your shin, not the knee, and then gently pulling that right leg towards our chest as we continue to breathe and keep the left foot flexed to protect our knee. Sighing it out as we need to. And then returning that right foot to the mat if you had it lifted up. Left foot to the mat. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and bring both knees up into your chest, grabbing your shins. And then maybe you just want to stay here, breathing for a couple breaths, pulling your knees into your chest. Perhaps you want some movement. Maybe you want to roll side to side. Maybe you want to twist your knees. Whatever your body's calling for. Your body knows. Listen to your intuition. And then returning both of your feet back down to the mat. We're going to bring the left knee into our chest. We're going to allow the right leg to fall out straight. With our right hand, we're going to grab our left knee. We're going to take our left arm out into a T shape from our shoulder. And on our next inhale, we're going to gently roll that left knee over the right side of our body, falling into the twist where our body naturally wants to fall into it. We're not pushing down with this right hand, making our twist go deeper than it needs to or wants to. We're simply resting our hand there. And then a couple options with this twist. You can continue to gaze straight up if that's what you need for your neck. Maybe you want to gaze off to the left. Maybe you want to roll your head back and forth. Continuing to breathe. And then on your next inhale, allowing your left knee to roll back over your body, left foot returning to the mat, right knee coming into your chest as you allow your left leg to fall out straight. Left arm is going to come over and catch your right knee. Right arm is going to go out into a T from your shoulder. And on your next inhale, you're going to gently guide your right knee over the left side of your body, allowing it to fall where it may. Left arm is just there resting, not pushing down. Same options on this side. Maybe you want to roll your head. Maybe you want to look to the right. Maybe your gaze wants to remain just looking up at the ceiling. Continuing to breathe, never holding our breath. Twists are great detoxifiers for our internal organs, help us balance both sides of our body. On your next inhale, letting that right knee come back over the left side of the body, right foot down onto the mat. And at this point, we're getting ready to move into our final resting form, our Shavasana. So if there's any move that you feel like your body needs that we didn't do or that you just love to do before the end of your practice, please take the time now to do that. Otherwise, or for those of us that don't have that need, Going ahead and moving and preparing for our Shavasana, grabbing any props you may need or want. Some people like to be covered with blankets, some people like eye pillows. Whatever you need to allow your body to fall into a resting state. Perhaps your feet are rolling out, hands are away from your body a little bit, palms are up. Eyes will be open or closed, whatever you're comfortable with. And we'll be in Shavasana for a few minutes. I will call us all back out together, so please letting your body rest to the best of your ability, letting your mind settle. Slowly bringing your awareness back to the room. Perhaps noticing your breath as it enters your body and leaves your body. Maybe twisting your ankles and your wrist as you slowly start to return to your body in this space. Taking your time, there is no rush. When you're ready, maybe rolling onto your side, creating a pillow with your hands, pulling your knees into your belly. Staying for a couple breaths in embryo pose. And as you're ready, using your outer hand to push you back up, returning to a seated position. In your own time, there is no rush. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Thanking yourself for showing up and practicing self-care. I thank you for practicing with me. I am very grateful. And I wish you a beautiful and glorious day.